Hey there, YouTube. This is CFL Fanatic, giving you my picks for Week 20 in the 2010 CFL season. This is the first week of playoffs, everybody. So yeah, very exciting matchups. My Argos are in the playoffs for the first time since 2007. Back in 2007, that was when they were actually hosting the East Final because they were actually kind of competent. I'm just kidding, though. Of course, they've definitely gotten better, and they're definitely a better team than they have been for the last few years. My credits to Jim Barker. Okay, so before we jump ahead, let's take a look. Last week I was 2-2. Schultze was 2-2. We both got the Montreal game wrong, but I've never been more happy to get a game wrong because that was awesome to see the Argos wipe the floor with the Owls. Many people will argue that it didn't matter because it was starters and everything, but I don't really care. Backups versus backups, and our backups can beat them, and our starters have beaten their starters before too. So are we in for an upset come playoff time? Oh, I hope so. Okay, so that takes my total on the season to 39 and 33, and Schultze goes to 34 and 38. So even if I get all the remaining 5 games wrong and he gets all of them right, I'll still at least tie with him. And I'm probably bound to agree with him at least on one of those games. So ultimately, I think I've pretty much won the season. Okay, so for this week, seeing as it is playoff time, obviously last year I had Ryan and Ben over for the Grey Cup panel, and we'll probably do that again this year. But first up, something kind of interesting that I'm going to do. Unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time to put this together and do it in video format, but I'm lucky enough to have Ben on the phone with me to help me with the audio, and he joins me now. So, hello, Ben.
Hello.
Okay. So how are you on this Saturday evening?
I am great.
Yes, we're recording this on Saturday evening. I've procrastinated yet again. I'm terrible for that, huh?
I'm really anxious to see how my riders do.
Well, I'm anxious to see how my Argos do, so that makes 2 of us. Okay, so before we jump into the playoffs, Ben, let's talk about the teams that didn't make the playoffs. And I think first we should talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 4-14 on the season. Your thoughts?
They are a really good 4-14 football team.
Agreed. And I think the stats was it's either 9 or 10. 9 or 10 of their losses came down to 4 points or less. So some close games that they probably could have and should have won to get into the playoffs. Yeah. Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about last week and the wild fight between BC and Edmonton for the final playoff spot. BC beating beating Hamilton in Hamilton. Were you surprised?
Yes, very.
Very surprised.
I thought Hamilton was going to win.
Well, I picked BC in that game. I felt that BC would probably pull off the victory. Now, what about Edmonton on the flip side? They had to win regardless, or they had to win after BC's win to get the playoffs, and it ultimately came down to them trying to get rid of BC for that last spot. So, were you surprised that that the Riders, who had been doing so bad going up to that point, were able to shut the Eskimos out of the playoffs?
No, because the Riders needed a win. They got their win, and they're in the playoffs, and they're going to beat BC.
Okay. Somebody sounds very, very confident. Okay. So before we jump onto this round, let's talk about something interesting, and that's last year we talked about Montreal and Saskatchewan were the respective division leaders. Montreal was completely wiping the floor with pretty much everybody else in the league. They were 15-3 to finish the season. Likewise, Saskatchewan was doing pretty well, and while Calgary was kind of nipping at their heels, there weren't really too many real contenders with Saskatchewan. Now, this year it seems to be the opposite because Montreal and Calgary are both leaders of their divisions, but they're not dominating their divisions and dominating everybody in the league. And it's definitely a more level playing field. So do you think we're going to see some upsets come the division finals?
I believe the team that goes to meet Montreal in Montreal could very well beat them.
I agree. And I think Rod Black and Dwayne Ford were talking about this before, that you look at how the Ticats and the Owls and the Argos have done against the Owls this year. The Argos and the Owls, the Argos are 2-2 against the Owls, so they've tied them, and the Ticats, I want to say that they are 1-2. But that one win includes a 40-3 drumming. So definitely some room for upset this year. So how about Calgary? What are you thinking about Calgary?
Me, as a Rider fan, I really hope they lose.
Well, yeah, I think Calgary definitely has to watch their back too. Maybe not quite as much as Montreal, but Calgary is certainly not invincible. But they are a good football team. I think Calgary's defense, which started out so strong at the beginning of the season, I think their defense needs to get a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, they need to go back to where they were at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Calgary, in the beginning of the season. Yeah, they were shutting everybody down. They were wiping the floor with pretty much everybody in the league. But then you look at last week, they gave up 32 points to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with what essentially was their third or fourth string quarterback playing. So definitely some weaknesses on the Calgary defense that defensive coordinator Chris Jones will have to address, I'm sure. Okay. So I guess without further ado, we should move on and talk about the playoffs. So first up, the Eastern semifinal, Toronto versus Hamilton. The second year in a row that it's in Hamilton. Last year, BC played in Hamilton and came away with the upset win, unfortunately going on to play Montreal and getting hammered 56-18. This year, it's Toronto and Hamilton. So what are your thoughts on the keys for the Argos?
I say the Argos use their special teams like they have been all year.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great.
Yeah.
The Statue of Liberty play against the Riders, that was the best play of the year by far, I'd say.
Well, not the best play of the year, but it was certainly an exciting play to watch, yes, and an exciting game to watch as well. Yeah, agreed, the Argos have to work on their special teams. I think the biggest key for the Argos, though, is their offense has to move the football. And you look last week and the week before, this is an offense that, has been kind of mediocre this season, but that is certainly capable of performing very well. So I think that's going to be the key, that they can do a lot of stuff, and they were early on doing a lot of stuff with play action fakes and stuff. And when you have Corey Boyd in your backfield, you can utilize him and you can fake it to him. You can use him as a receiver. They just have so many weapons that I think have gone quite unutilized this year, and they've failed to capitalize on their potential there. Now, what about Hamilton? What is Hamilton's key to shutting down the Argos tomorrow?
Turnovers.
And
pressure the quarterback.
Yes.
The quarterback in Clear Lemon.
Good point. I think back to the Argos, turnovers have been plaguing the Argos for a while now. And you look at the last time these two teams played was in Toronto, 30-3 in a game that featured 7 Argo turnovers. So they certainly can't have a repeat of that if they want to have a shot of winning this game. I think that's about it. So now with these matchups, I feel that Toronto's defense is pretty solid, and they'll do a pretty good job of shutting down Kevin Glenn, Arlan Bruce, Dave Stala, etc., etc.
Yes.
But like I said, Hamilton's defense is not too shabby either, so Toronto's offense certainly has their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah.
So let's get down to it. Your pick to win the Eastern semifinal.
Hamilton.
Hamilton. And your reasoning behind that?
Their defense. Create turnovers. Create turnovers. I say again, create turnovers.
Okay, yeah, and certainly turnovers have plagued the Argos, so you think that Hamilton will get some pressure and force some turnovers on Toronto and win the game.
Yes.
Okay, my pick for the game, and it's a tough one to pick, Toronto and Hamilton, two crosstown rivals, and, I happen to feel that, Hamilton does have the upper hand in this game. What with home field advantage and the fact that that I think the fact that they have home field advantage is definitely an asset for them. I'm getting sidetracked here. And Toronto certainly hasn't played well against them, and turnovers are going to be a key for the Argos to address. But, I feel there's a lot of positives with this Argo team, and, their special teams, I think, are definitely going to dominate Hamilton's special teams. So that's a plus for them. And another thing that I think you have to take into account is Toronto's defense, I think, is going to be ironclad against Hamilton's offense. This Toronto defense has just not ceased to impress me. And you know what? I think something about the playoffs, or maybe something about the fact that I haven't been in a situation where I can actually pick the Argos for a playoff game. But you know what? I'm going with my heart on this one, and I am going to pick the Argos to win the Eastern semifinal. Disagree with you and disagree with Schultze as well. Okay, so next game, Western semifinal. BC taking on Saskatchewan. BC had a long road to try and to actually earn their spot here and to get here. Certainly took them a while, and they had to jump through a lot of hoops to get here. So, keys for BC in this game. What's going to be key for them?
I'd say probably getting rid of the crowd noise. They need to score fast. They need to get down the field on their first drive, take the crowd out of the game, get 7 points up on the board. Yeah, and especially at Mosaic, the crowd is such a big factor there all the time. And, I think people say, that, oh yeah, there's a lot of fan support, there's a lot of crowd noise, but it can't really change a game. Yes, it can. Big time. And we've seen it happen where, the crowd noise can really throw teams off. Yes.
So, BC, you say, strike early, get the crowd out of the game, and combat that crowd noise. Agreed, the crowd is going to be a problem for BC. I think BC's biggest problem is going to be their offense, because I haven't really been too impressed with the way their offense has been playing, and this has been pretty much all season actually. So I think BC definitely needs to score early, get their offense in the game, get them some momentum, and just overall, they need to do a good job and strike first. So yeah. Now, as far as Saskatchewan, keys to the game for the Riders.
They need to score early. They need to get the crowd in the game.
Yes. On the flip side, again. And again, we're talking about the crowd being such a big factor. So you say, so strike early then.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think Saskatchewan really does need to set the tone of the game. And especially when they haven't been playing very well for the last few seasons, they really need to set the tone. So, picks? Saskatchewan? Okay, I'm not surprised. I think I might take the upset. I think BC has had a long road to get here, and, I don't like, aside from last week, Saskatchewan has been playing pretty brutal for the last a little while, so I think I'm going to take the upset, and I think I'm going to take BC in this one. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it for the first week of playoffs in the CFL. Thanks for joining me, Ben.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So this has been CFL Fanatic. Tune in next week. Tune in tomorrow to watch the games. 6 hours of football. Definitely looking forward to it. and I will see you next week.